everyone, and welcome to our webinar on change management for Project Online using the Governance and Administration Suite, what we call a GA Suite. This is an updated webinar from our original one that we did beginning of the year. There's some new things we want to show you with the GA Suite for change management for all organizations that have a Project Online site. We consider it the best approach for managing changes and improving your Project Online PWA sites as you evolve usage and insights from your PPM solution. So just a quick intro into what the GA Suite is all about. So when we originally conceived the product, the intended use cases have features for really accelerating the build of a PWA site, a project web app site in Project Online, and making it quicker. There's capabilities that allow you to do that. The concept of quick deployment to drive a feedback loop and adoption in an organization was also included. And thirdly, what we wanted to do was have a service online that would allow an admin and a PMO to manage the application lifecycle of a PWA site with less overhead, less time, and really give you more time to do other higher quality tasks and be making changes to a configuration and performing backups. So that's really the some of the initial objectives for what is the GA Suite online service for Project Online. So today we're going to talk about what it takes to actually go through a change management lifecycle and also using backup. So the GA Suite is a product within the FluentPro product suite that actually has the backup capability. So if you want to actually do backups of your MPP files, your configuration, your SharePoint sites, you're going to use the GA Suite. And we use some of that in change management also. So you'll see that when we go through the demonstration, we'll show how you can document, audit, compare, copy, and edit configuration. But at the same time, backup is there, which is one of the three capabilities of the product. What we will not talk about today is, and you might see it in the demonstration, is Solution Builder, which is a utility that allows you to very quickly deploy a PWA site with a configuration, and really you can even edit the configuration. So we'll be addressing change management and some of the backup features. So where's the source of change management? Just to put some process rationale behind this. It's really continuous improvement. So the idea is that we're going to start and evolve our PPM capability in the organization, and from that initial configuration that is tied to your requirement set, you're going to improve it over time. There's going to be changes that are going to be coming in from your users, and the idea is that we need to continue to improve our Project Online implementation, our solution, so that we can give better results to the organization. The idea is to be very attentive to the customer. Here, the PMO and the executives and the project managers, team members, so that we continue to improve the Project Online solution. And you do that over time in your quarterly cycle, annual cycles. The more you improve, the better adoption you achieve, the better value the organization gets out of using Project Online. And you manage Project Online just like you would any other application. You have an application change management lifecycle, and you should apply the same principles you use with any other enterprise application to Project Online. It just happens to be, commercial off the shelf within your Office 365 tenant, but that doesn't really remove any of the better practices in terms of uh, obtaining requests for changes, planning those changes, analyzing the impact, implementing them, validating them in test environments, and then closing the request and measuring the benefit obtained. And this could be as simple as adding an additional field or removing fields that aren't of value to an organizational change that occurs, and you have to change either the RBS or any fields that reflect your structure. We've recently been engaged with customers that want to start managing costs, so now we have to add cost management features within the custom field set and the configuration, or um, within the project desktop fields that are being managed themselves. And you're going to do that by having, if you do a custom development, you're going to have a development side, which will then progress to testing, which will then progress to production. At a minimum, we recommend that you have a test and production site. Uh, in most cases, there's not a lot of development sites, but that development site, by the way, could be archive also. So that's another um, application lifecycle change request that you can manage, which is taking closed and closed projects, canceled projects, and moving them to an archive from production. So you could count that in within change requests, which can then, by the way, be restored. And you can do that with GA Suite, and we'll show that. So just keep in mind that you want to apply the same best practices in application change management to Project Online that you would with any other uh, enterprise application. And I'll close on this topic of continuous improvement with just one question or one perspective, which is that we're doing BPM and Project Online to provide insights to the organization. That in your particular case, it could be because you're trying to see how aligned your spend and initiatives are to strategy. It could be to your resource utilization, your capacity for work, your demand for work. It could be because you're trying to deploy financial resources and you're trying to see the return from a portfolio, an investment portfolio of initiatives. You're trying to track benefit attainment. What's the impact of the organization from all of the project initiatives that we have or programs? What's the risk profile that we are assuming or our investments are putting us in? So all of these are different insights, and by the way, they could be your own. Maybe there's a change management component here that your organization is trying to obtain insights from. So our Project Online implementation is supposed to provide these. And the key question is, if you go to the main consumer, which is usually senior leadership team, I name it as SLT there. If you ask the question, is the PVM solution delivering the necessary insights that we originally obtained? In most cases, because of change within the organization, because of change in leadership, because of changing priorities, the solution is also going to have to change. So most times the answer will be no. We aren't getting what we need from it. So that is where the source of change begins. And we recommend that at least on an annual basis you should do this. But the better organizations are looking at improving their Project Online sites on a quarterly basis. What else can we be doing? And there's improvements in the solution, specifically with respect to reporting in Power BI, that allow you to get those insights now. A lot of it also has to do with adoption internally, which is another change that you could be implementing. Maybe it's more training, but the idea is that if if your main customer, being senior leadership, is not satisfied with the insights you're getting, then you have a reason for change. You have a compelling reason for improving and changing your solution. So some better practices we've seen: implement a change management process for your project online solution and include the GA suite. We'll show how you can benefit from it in the upcoming demo. You got to be proactive about this concept of change management of PPM. We've seen, we have evidence that active administration improves adoption of the solution. So the more that you're listening to the customer and meeting their needs, the higher satisfaction you have from Project Online. And with the G Suite, you'll have the configuration documented and also backed up. This helps you reference changes that might be needed, both incremental additions to the configuration or even removal of configuration that's not needed. And configuration backup also helps replicate a site, and in case you want to do test, or if you need to start a new site, a new PWA site, you can do it directly from the GA Suite with the configuration backed up. Probably an underestimated capability is the ability to create new PWAs for testing and training. I mean, Microsoft provides 9,000 of them within a tenant. It's very easy to just spin one up and copy the configuration and even some test content from a production site into a test site. And that you can use the G Suite for monitoring the consistency and usage of the configuration. We have an audit feature, and there's some reporting that's also available to enable that usage. So before I turn it over to my colleague Kate, who's going to be giving us a demo, just some of the features that we're going to be looking at today in terms of G Suite for change management. It's mostly the managing and copy of existing PW sites and content within it. You'll see prominently how when we go into a specific site, you can copy configuration, create a full copy if you want, compare, audit, and then generate PWA documentation. This can be done schedule or ad hoc, which is kind of an interesting feature. You can actually schedule any of these actions. So it doesn't necessarily need to be on the spot. You can define when you want that backup to occur of your configuration, or when you want to document that configuration. So now I will turn it over to Kate, who's going to give us a quick walkthrough of the solution.
Hello, my name is Kate. Thank you, Jose. So I will demonstrate the use cases of change management scenarios which are available using FluentPro GA Suite. And right now we have my GA Suite site opened, and right now we're within GA Suite. So this is the home page, and right now we're looking at the diagram which is showing my environments and relations between my environments. So as in majority cases, my environment, my project online environment, consists of a test, production, and archive PWAs. So I have them added to my GA Suite, and the tiles here really represent the PWAs themselves. Also, the arrows connecting the three PWAs display the direction of data flow between my PWAs. So I have chosen that the data, of course, needs to be synchronized between my test and my production and PWAs in both ways, actually. And I have connected the production and archive PWAs, and the data flow in this case is from production to archive. The first case we'll be seeing right now is a scenario when a change was requested in production project online PWA. We will review just a simple case when a change needs to be done in lookup tables. Of course, we cannot do this in production directly. Firstly, the changes need to be done in test environment. And at this point, the first thing I need to do is to verify that production and test PWAs are in sync. So basically, verify that test PWA reflects everything what I have in production for my change. So I would need to compare production and test PWAs. And basically what I do, I would need to click the tile of a production PWA here. This gets me to the PWA administration page, where in GA Suite I can access different actions which are available for this PWA. What interests me right now is the compare functionality we have here under PWA configuration documentation section. And what I needed to do is to perform a compare of production to test PWA configurations. So this was easy. I chose the tile, chose the environments I want to compare, and initiated a process. After some time, I received a confirmation email from GA Suite that it has finished comparing PWA configurations, and the letter also included a Excel file containing compare report. Basically the same file I can access from GA Suite directly. Here in the documentation section, I have a history of all documentation actions I've took in GA Suite, and the comparison is also here, and the download button allows me to download the results of my comparison. And looking at the comparison report, I performed that time. So we saw the results that environments are not in sync. Users were working, making changes in both environments, and I saw that some of the entities of PWA configuration exist on source, which is my production. Some of them do not exist in the test PWA. Some of them were modified. I also went through all of the elements, checking what exactly is different. So which elements are missing, which of them were modified. And having analyzed the changes, the decision was made that I need to have the two environments synced again. That is why I then initiated a copy of PWA configuration from production to the test environment. Here again in PWA administration page, under PWA configuration snapshots, there is an option to copy PWA configuration to the test PWA, and this is what I did. Choosing to copy PWA configuration. And a point to notice is that G Suite cares about my time. Since not all elements of configuration were different, I only needed to choose those which were different or missing. And it is possible with G Suite. I can choose the selected option here and only focus on the entities which were different or missing in the generated report. So this is what I did. I selected only the elements I saw different in the report and took a copy, which was again logged in the copies interface here. As a result, again, G Suite notified me that copying process finished successfully. Configuration was brought from production to test environment. And at that point, it was safe to make the requested changes in test and see how it all works. So copying complete PWA configuration wouldn't have taken much more time, but as we know, the time is money, and wasting time is a luxury we all can't afford. The time came to perform the actual changes to the lookup tables. For this, I have chosen to use the tool called FluentBooks, which provides a great functionality for bulk changes in PWA configuration. So using FluentBooks, we can perform bulk update of resources, custom fields, lookup tables, and even projects. Of course, I could have just go ahead and manually update each of the lookups in test, but FluentBooks saves my time and efforts and allows to do that in bulk. So opening FluentBooks, there were several simple steps I needed to take to perform the bulk edit of the lookups. The first one was to download PWA configuration from the test PWA into FluentBooks. So with FluentBooks, we would firstly need to download the elements we want to modify into FluentBooks workspace, and then we can proceed working with it in any way we need. So here I have chosen to download only lookups. So what is also great with this tool that you can just not lift and shift everything, so to say. It allows to download data and only aim on the data that you need. So I've downloaded lookup tables. As a result, a workspace was generated containing the complete information about the lookup tables from my test PWA. So I can find all of them here. At that point, I've aimed on 3 lookup tables where the changes needed to be done. And my next step then was to export these lookup tables into an Excel spreadsheet where I can easily make the changes I need. So this is what I did. I exported workspace data into Excel file. And an Excel file containing my lookup tables was generated. So here in the lookup values tab, I performed the needed changes. So added new values to the lookup, deleted those that were no longer needed. As for department lookup, a 2-level structure was decided to be implemented for this lookup, and this is what happened. So I made the changes, saved them in the Excel file, and after that used FluentBooks to import the changes back into FluentBooks workspace. This was the next step. And at that point, since the changes were imported back into FluentBooks, the only step I had to do was to export my changes back to the test PWA. And for this, I used upload configuration to PWA functionality, again choosing only lookup tables, and successfully uploaded my updates into test PWA. Now, as the requested changes were made in test, I can use G Suite again to promote them from test to production. But the point here is that obviously my production PWA is a place where users are working during business hours, and I cannot always just go ahead and copy something to this PWA at any time I want. So without G Suite, I would have needed to wait until the end of a working day when users finish their work with the environment, and then make changes to the production PWA. However, with G Suite, I can initiate the copy process the time when I need, and simply go home because the tool will do the work for me. So what happened next is the copy process was initiated from the test PWA using the functionality of copy to production. I have chosen to copy only the lookup tables from test to production. In G Suite, it is also possible. It is not necessary to bring all the entities. I can only choose lookup tables and have them copied to the test PWA. Another option is to have the copy process scheduled right here in G Suite so that I do not need to initiate it manually. The scheduling profile will do it for me. And this is what I did. I created a scheduling profile, calling it configuration sync from test to production. And I've chosen this schedule to happen quickly on Fridays at 8 p.m. This copy process will take place, bringing all the configuration elements from test to production PWA. So the profile was saved. I then chose to run it at this very moment I created it, and then just left it to be happening weekly per the schedule that I created. So with G Suite, no further manual activities would be needed. The copy will just happen by schedule automatically. Also, what is great in G Suite is that you can actually keep track of the changes which are performed, keep track of the copies and documentation processes you take within your PWAs, because all the actions you perform will be logged here right before your eyes. You can see when comparison took place, when copying processes took place. This will be all available, and you'll know which change happened at what date. Further, during the configuration changes, it was also discovered that Project Center is not in sync between the test and production instances. So it was discovered that a number of projects were missing, or they were heavily modified. And the next step was to bring all projects to the test PWA. So again, to keep the two environments in full sync. And the first thing I needed to do was to copy projects from production to the test. So again, I opened PWA administration page, and here under PWA data snapshots, there is an option to copy data from production to test. So this is what happened. Here I have chosen to copy project plans and SharePoint sites from my production to the test environment. The same action can also be scheduled and performed by schedule. This is what I did. I created a schedule to synchronize projects from production to test by schedule. Again, it was scheduled to happen weekly on Fridays, right after the copy of configuration took place. A copy process of project plans will take place. So again, using G Suite, you would not need to perform any manual activities because schedules will work for it. After all the changes and setups which were performed, a final validation was needed to compare the test and production PWAs to check that they're in sync now. And again, I initiated a compare action between test and production PWAs, and this time a report showed me that now all elements were in sync. All the elements of PWA configuration were identical between the two PWAs, and now I have everything in sync. So at this point, since everything is in place, we also decided to perform a backup of the two environments. G Suite offers a great backup functionality, which can also be either ad hoc or scheduled. So if a backup needs to be done, it can be launched right away from this interface. You can start the process, choosing the elements of PWA which you would like to back up. So these can be PWA configuration, project plans, SharePoint content, or even timesheets, and start a backup copy right here, right now. What I did, I created a schedule for a backup to happen weekly. So here it was decided that the backup will take place again weekly on Saturday at uh, 12 a.m. right after everything. The PWA configuration and projects and sites are synced between the two environments. A backup of the environments will take place. And here I have selected to back up the complete PWA data, choosing all PWA configuration, um, and targeting on project plans which were modified during the last week, and the SharePoint sites again modified during the last week. After that, as well, I had initiated a backup copy at this very moment, and left a scheduling profile to do further backup copies automatically. After that, we moved to the next scenario where it was requested to archive the closed projects from my production PWA, because once a project is completed, an organization no longer needs immediate access to this project, and it it is not needed that the projects are displayed in Project Center. And this is a great idea, since archiving and hiding completed projects helps to reduce the clutter in Project Center views and help keep users from making changes to projects that are no longer active. With the need of such change, with the need of archiving projects, so we know that no straightforward functionality is available in Project Online, which would allow to archive projects. But with GA Suite, we can do that. So an separate archive Project Online PWA was created, and it was decided that closed projects will be moved from production to an archive PWA using GA Suite. So basically what happened next, in my production PWA for projects, we created a Project Center view called Archive Projects, which only included those where a flag for a project field ready for archiving was set to yes. In this way, separating the projects which are closed, which need to be archived, in a separate view. After that, in GA Suite, for my production PWA, I also created a schedule called Archive Projects with the following settings. So it was decided that the copy of closed projects will happen monthly, each month on 15th and 30th at 9 p.m. The project plans, which are included to the Project Center view called Archive Projects, this is the one, will be copied from production PWA to archive 1. So as simple as that, I can make the closed projects move to the archive PWA. And of course, this process was initiated. And as soon as G Suite informed me that the closed projects were copied from production to archive, a notification to project managers was sent out that they can now safely delete the closed projects from production PWA. So after that, our PWA will not be overloaded with the closed projects. And moving to another scenario, another change which was requested in our production environment. It was a need to copy project sites from production PWA to separate site collection. So, per recommendation of Microsoft Project Online users, to keep Project Online performing at its best, there are several limits to how much data we can realistically store in the environment. So, as we know, 30,000 projects per project web website can be stored. However, as for project sites, for this project, we cannot exceed 2,000 sites in one collection, in one site collection. And moreover, for best performance of projects online with large numbers of projects, um, we need to aim to having to not having any project sites in the PWA site collection itself. So this is what was requested, to move project sites to separate site collection to ensure that the project online performance for our environment is at its best. So I can hardly imagine the size of efforts and time for a manual activity of moving a project site and using GA Suite. It would be much more easier. And what I started with, it was needed to specify a new site collection where project sites will be created from now on. And the place to specify a new site collection is, of course, an enterprise project type. So this is what happened in the PWA. For each of the enterprise project types, we have changed the site creation location to a separate site collection. So from now on, projects will be stored in this site collection and project sites will be moved to a separate one. After this, everything what was need to be done is to initiate a copying process of project sites from the initial site collection to a new one. So this is what I did. Again, clicking on my production environment tile. A copy to a new site collection was initiated. So we decided to move all project sites from production to separate site collection, and project sites were copied to the target site collection. And what is important, G Suite supports the migration of a project site, and moreover, it supports saving and preserving the link of a project site to a project afterwards. So we would not need to worry that after moving our project site to another site collection, the link will be lost. With G Suite, this will be preserved. So this is everything I wanted to share with you today. Jose, I am giving control back to you. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Kate. That was pretty awesome. You know the solution well. You were able to go through it in depth fairly quickly. As everyone saw, there's a lot of um, rich set of capabilities for doing changes to project online sites. So in a change management cycle, the J Suite provides a lot of value to an organization that is actively improving their solution, their configuration. And here I highlight some of the benefits that Kate presented. You know, you can see that it can be automated. It's automated both in schedule and ad hoc mode for all the actions that were listed there that are part of the solution. Uh, G Suite is secure. It's got data encryption. We've actually spent a lot of time and investment in making the GA Suite more secure. We have lots of documentation on architecture and security that we can share. Um, it's scalable to the customer requirement. What that means is the minimum subscription brings 2 PWAs to really unlimited. Um, you pay for what you use for in terms of the PWAs that are subscribed, and also the number of projects if you're going to be using backup. I'll show in a second the starter subscription levels, but you can start just with a subscription of G Suite just for change management, not backup. Um, you can use the G Suite to easily expand, Project Online as a service. So we have a lot of customers that have begun to do that. Um, there are customers with 25 PWAs in Project Online. I want to highlight that we actually have one that has 50. So in a large enterprise with the ease of the facility of creating PWA sites within a tenant, um, you can use G Suite to expand usage. The last point, there's monitoring notifications. If none of the actions actually are not completed, and as you saw from what Kate showed, when they are completed, you actually get email with content. And our support team, our product team, is constantly monitoring the service to make sure that if there is an issue with any of the content, a corrupt project, for instance, or something that has gone wrong within the site, the PWA admin listed receives those notifications, and we can troubleshoot any issue that might occur. So in terms of the summary for the GA Suite for change management, you can, as you saw, you can automate the build, deploy, manage cycle for a PWA, and this is of value to administrators, PWA admins, PMOs, anyone that's really related to the project portfolio management process. The G Suite is a cloud-based service for connecting and managing your project on PWA sites. Um, it can fulfill the requirement for disaster recovery because we have backup and restore of project online data and configuration. One additional value that wasn't shown today because we weren't focusing so much on the backup, but the backup can be to an organization's own Azure storage account. So if you're interested in having the backup in your storage account, you can do that. The other value, if you wanted to have the GA Suite on-premise, we also offer that on-premise. Obviously, the cost is a little higher, but if you wanted to have it on-premise, it is available on-premise. GA Suite was actually the evolution of some of our other products, mainly FluentBooks. So this is a proven core platform that has hundreds of existing customers, and it's been in the market for more than 2 years. And as I said, it's value-based because the pricing is based on usage of the sites and the backup workloads. Those are the two metrics. If we included Solution Builder, which I haven't talked about, you're getting 3 solutions in one with the G Suite. So it's of great value to anyone that's using Project Online. I want to reference our help guides that are available. We continue to add features. The product has an active roadmap. Currently, we're adding a lot of new capability. We'll be releasing capabilities for managing SharePoint, more SharePoint content. You can see the latest release notes within our help site. If you're interested in a trial, we offer trials to end customers that want to use it. Also, there's a documentation offer in case you just want to use it for documentation that is available at no cost. If you actually want a trial of the backup and copying, we can allow that with the issuance of a sales order. And as with all of our products, we have a help desk available 16 hours to support and troubleshoot any, whether it's usability or technical issues that you might have while using the platform. So pricing and availability, this is right off of our website. You can start using the GA Suite um, with the features that you saw, uh, only for $2,000 for an annual subscription. At this level, it's not really meant for backup, and you do get 25 projects for backup, but most organizations have more than 25 projects if you're going to have even a test site. The more valuable subscriptions are at the $5,000 level with 100 projects, and that's because we have a promotion that we started in which we include FluentBooks for Project Online also. So the steps in the use case that Kate referenced with respect to going into the configuration itself at the enterprise data level using FluentBooks, you would get by subscribing at the $5,000 level for G Suite. This provides 100 projects, uh, 2 PWA sites, and also FluentBooks at no additional cost. So it's a great value because essentially you're getting two products for one. The client FluentBooks, as well as everything that you saw in the G Suite for change management today. With that, we have completed our presentation, and I will open it now for questions. And so feel free to put questions in our chat. So what if we have more than 2 PWAs? There's you can upgrade to the number of PWAs that you require. So um, you just need to define what those are, and we include them in the description. Would FluentBooks for Project Online still be included with for additional PWA sites? Yes, we match. We match to your subscription. So whatever FluentBooks subscription you have, again, if you're at that $5,000 level with FluentBooks, you can get GA Suite for 100 projects. So if you require more backup volume, that's where you would have to upgrade GA Suite to the number of projects that require backup. We will still credit you, the FluentBooks subscription as part of the GA Suite. So if you're interested in getting the backup for more projects with GA Suite, if you're a FluentBooks subscriber, then all you do is you upgrade to that volume. But yeah, if you have any specific questions to your FluentBooks subscription and how it relates to G Suite, the G Suite component, just let us know, and we can clarify in your specific case. So there don't appear to be any additional questions, so I will close the webinar. Again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to drop us a line at either sales@fluentpro.com or info@fluentpro.com. And I look forward to seeing you in our upcoming webinars. Thanks for your time today, and we'll be in touch soon. Thanks.